paper or anything yet, I would advise you to get a pen and paper because the information that you are about to receive is going to be spectacular. When I tell you the gentleman that I'm about to bring to the line, I have a ton of respect for. This gentleman is a businessman. He is a family man. He knows 100% of the information that you are about to receive. And not only that, he likes to help people, but most of all, he likes to have fun while he's doing all that. So if you missed his intro, he likes to dance. He likes to do what he likes to do. He is a big brother in life and a big brother in business. If you guys can do me a huge favor and come off mute and give it up for my big brother in business, Mr. Richard the Hulk Harden. Y'all give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up.
Come on, Mr. Harden. Yeah.
Come on, Mr. Richard.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Wait, let me get the regular background on. But before I get started, y'all do me a favor because I'm excited about the things that the experience we just had with our Game Changer conference and the changes that we are making in people's lives when it comes to money. But I'd be remiss if I started this conversation without giving props back to the young lady that introduced me, because quietly, Tanisha Sanchez, also known as Tanetica from Connecticut, is one of the leaders of our First Ladies of Finance movement. She's one of the people that's positioned herself to make a ton of money doing what we do, but also to create generational wealth for her family and not her children, but her kids. Does that make sense? So before I get started, y'all do me a favor, come off mute, wake up baby, start little dog. Try to give it up, Tanisha Sanchez.
Come on, Tanisha.
Hey,
how you doing?
Fantastic job.
Awesome, Tanisha.
And so for those of you that are joining this conversation for the first time, I want you to know that I admit ahead of time, the things I'm going to share are not for everyone, but they are for someone, and you'll have to figure out if it's you, because like me, I was looking for something to help me create wealth generationally. How many of you wanted to be wealthy?
I did.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm talking to the right people, because I found myself in a place where I felt like I had done all that they told me to do, William. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and in Atlanta, they have a success formula. They say you're supposed to go to school and get good grades. And they say that way. Matter of fact, put it in the chat where you're from, and if that's what they say where you're from. In Atlanta, they say go to school and get good grades. Did they say that where you're from? Where are you from? Let me see. Bridgeport. Did they say that in Bridgeport, Tanisha? Yes. Fayetteville, yes. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, yes. Okay, and then after you go to school and get good grades, you're supposed to go to college and get a degree. Did they say that where you're from?
Yes.
And then after you go to college and get that degree, you're supposed to get a good job with benefits and live happily ever after. Did they say that where you're from?
Yes.
Did anybody figure out that there was nobody at their good job that was wealthy?
Yes.
It's a formula to produce work and not to produce wealth. So in my frustration, I've done all the things. I graduated Frederick Douglass High School here in Atlanta, Georgia, the top of my class, 635 students, #1. What that meant was I was a nerd for 4 years, but I was a valedictorian the last day and for the rest of our lives. I learned everything the Atlanta public school system intended to teach us. And guess what? It wasn't enough. But it was enough for me to get an academic scholarship to Duke University. Now, at Duke University, I was a double major. I double majored in electrical engineering and computer science because back then, they said if you position yourself in front of technology, you can write your own ticket.
Thanks.
Baby.
I still don't know what the hell write your own ticket meant. If it meant I was going to get money faster, I was on board. So I was blessed, graduated into the world of technology in the right place at the right time, meaning I went from my starting salary to a 6-figure income over a period of 5 years. But I had a rude awakening. Everybody say rude.
Rude.
And the rude awakening, here's how it happened. It was that the things that the old folks had been telling me all the time that I was coming through were actually true. They say the more you make, the more they take. Has anybody ever heard that?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I didn't realize it wasn't just a saying. It was actually the way the statistics work, meaning the more they pay you, the higher percentage they take out of your check. So there I was with my 6-figure income, my wife and my 3 bold, beautiful, expensive kids. and more frustrated with my cash flow than I'd ever been, because here I was at the highest income any of us had and still check to check. Can anybody relate to getting a raise and not feeling like you had one?
Yep.
Not
Yeah.
even an even.
And so there I was, frustrated and negative, because both my cash flow and my attitude about it were negative. Like, how am I going to ever get ahead if I'm barely keeping up? Because anybody on the line been check to check?
Yep.
Yes.
Anybody ever been check behind the check? You don't have to say yes out loud. Just raise your eyebrows and nod intensely if you felt that feeling when you had to put something back. And in my stress, in my distress, I was blessed to have someone I love. My younger brother introduced me to a conversation and a community that led us to a set of strategies that over the course of the last 4 years, quietly, I've crept up on $1 million net worth.
Mhm.
I had goosebumps when it hit because I didn't know it was happening, because money movement sometimes seems slow, but we found the ultimate wealth accelerator. Anybody like to know how that works? So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, ladies, I want to introduce you to the first time for most people in these Zoom streets, the Wealth Syndicate. Who we are is a group of individuals and organizations that have come together with the only opportunity and the only membership that literally has no limits on the wealth that you can create. Put this in your notes, generationally. See, some people are talking about making money. We're talking about making a difference. And if you get on board at the right time, there's no limits to what you'll be able to build. Now, I will say up front, there is no guarantee of income. Your individual results may vary, but what we will accomplish as a movement will be in the history books. And you want to have your name on that Mount Rushmore of wealth. Does that make sense? Because let me ask you a question. If you think about all the ways that people make money, what do all of these groups of people have in common? Because you have, most people in America are employees, meaning they work for somebody else and somebody else writes a paycheck, or they're self-employed, they work and they write a check to themselves. Yes? Business owners that are out there building a business, a brand, where they have employees in addition to themselves. And then you have this group, you got athletes, rappers, entertainers, they make big money, yes? And then you got that last category, you got, I call them rich people. These are people that suddenly became rich, like your lottery winners or somebody that hit it big in Vegas, right? For all these groups of people, what I found statistically is very few of them, no matter how much money they made living, have one living heir that's still wealthy. You hear me? I mean, think about it.
Sure.
Even I see, this is the thing about living in Atlanta. Like, I live in Atlanta, so I remember when Evander Holyfield was a champion of the world. He had that big, huge mansion where some people have a house in the cul-de-sac. Was the cul-de-sac.
It was the closest.
All the way around the corner. But when he couldn't box anymore, he ended up losing that house, giving it up to Rick Ross for pennies on the dollar, because he didn't know what to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's not just Evander. It's not just that he was punch drunk. You can look across multiple athletes, entertainers, most lottery winners end up bankrupt in greater debt than they were when they hit, because they didn't have tools to preserve the wealth. And if you don't have a strategy for your money, making more won't help. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
Yes.
we all have in common that no matter how much money we make, if we don't know what to do with the money, eventually it just leads to a harder fall.
Right.
But what if there was a system where we had access to the wealth building resources that wealthy people do? What if we had someone that could help us with the process of turning our income into positive cash flow so that we could develop multiple streams of income? We had asset accumulation information, so we had ways to put the money to work. I mean, listen, it is not how much money you make, it's how you make your money and how much money your money makes that makes wealth for the next generation. And it doesn't matter what you know. If you don't have the education and implementation strategies to put all of that together, you're just somebody that knows something, but is not in a position to live it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So that's why I feel like I'm running around with the goose that laid the golden egg, because we've got the best kept secret when it comes to wealth building through our partnership with MWR Financial. Put that in your notes if you're taking notes. MWR Financial stands for Make Wealth Real. Not fantasy wealth. We're not talking about fiction. We are talking about numbers and discipline by giving everyone, wherever they are on that spectrum that you just saw, whether you're a hardworking employee, whether you got a business, whether you're an athlete right now with millions coming in, but a short career on the lifespan, to create, increase, multiply, and protect your income. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And how does it work? Well, first, I want you to understand the company and the backing that we have. Our leadership team has over a century of experience, 100 years of experience in creating solutions for people's problems. Our CEO, Brian House, firmly believes, whenever he talks to us as a leadership team, that an entrepreneur is someone who solves a problem for people for a profit, right? And think about this. Number one problem when it comes to money in America is lack of financial expertise and financial education. And that's why 80% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck. Why 90% of Americans after 40 years working don't have enough accumulated assets to replace their asses at work. I'm sorry. But he came together with our field president and Damo Tolson, and out of their office in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, they built a multi-million-dollar debt-free company over the last 5 years. And across the board, we've got the best of the best in leadership, building and pioneering an industry that we're already members of. Like the industry, like if anybody asks you, what do you do? I'm a promoter. I promote wealth. But the promoter industry, whether you know it or not, is a 58.2 billion. Everybody say billion.
Billion.
$58.2 billion industry per year. And the highest paid skill in any of those industries is promotion. Like every time I think back to Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson, you know who made the most money when Tyson met Holyfield? Don King.
Yeah, Don King.
Don King.
Mhm.
When Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey brought the circus, it was the Ringling Brothers that made the money, but they were no longer in the ring. And you know what else? We promote every day. Let me come off mute and make sure I see this for you. Because if you think about all the things that are right here, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, how many of you have ever promoted something on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram where somebody else got paid? Anybody ever promoted a party?
Yep.
And it wasn't even their party.
Nope.
Been to the Super Bowl or had a Super Bowl party.
Yep.
Yep.
Right? We do it all the time, every day. We are casually making recommendations to people and other people make a profit. Anybody ever share a meme on Facebook?
Yes.
Real?
Mhm.
Yes.
If those people are going to monetize our efforts, what if we decided to do it and spread knowledge that made a difference for people? I mean, if people going to be on Facebook and Instagram to be in your business, shouldn't they be in your business?
Yes.
So I just want people to understand these are things we're already doing, but what we're promoting and putting in place is a way for people that want to be wealthy. And I tell people up front, you can't arm wrestle anybody into being wealthy. You got to decide to be wealthy, because the default setting for America is you're broke. Eventually. Why is that, Richard? Well, think about this. If you had a membership, because that's what we have, it's an exclusive club and community where we have experts to help you increase your current cash flow, multiply that cash flow, create new cash flow, and then protect all of it so that it survives you to become wealthy. See, the biggest challenge that most people have is that in their lives, there are 4 things that knock them out in terms of actually creating generational wealth. It's our tax system, our debt system, and the expenses of living. For most people in America, those 3 things are what keep them from check to check, while there's no money left to invest. And we have the first, the best, and the only all-inclusive wealth membership to tackle the problems that we were not trained to deal with. Meaning, if you understand, for the average American, between taxes, debt, and bills, that's where their income goes. And you don't have any income to become capital to invest if your money's always going out to the big three. But between our team of tax experts, bill negotiators, debt eliminators, and by helping people get their credit house in order, the membership just in that top tier of everybody say, get your money right.
Get your money
Your
right.
money right.
Top tier is just about getting your money right.
Right.
I don't know if y'all's money is wrong, but I know for me, having that tax strategy along with the debt elimination and getting my credit score up into the 800s, that increased the cash flow into my house from my job by $6,000 a month.
Mm.
Because the more you take, the more you make, the more they take.
Yeah.
That's the more that you can take back if you get your house in order. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then once you got your money, because that's the next thing, we got to structure our investments differently. We've got to put people in position where they have better options for their money to grow than just banks. And then the secret of the wealthy, the reason the wealthy stay wealthy generationally is because they have a complex system of trust that put them in a position for the money to be bulletproof from taxes, lawsuits, even divorce. Oh, and it's a whole bunch of other stuff in here. We got student loan debt relief, credit restoration and monitoring, debt counseling. We even got legal self-help. But let me highlight just a couple of these things on the path to wealth. I'll take a few minutes for other members to share their results, but talk about our next phase. So if you think about just the membership is $149.97 a month. Now, the blessing is I've seen companies in this industry charge more than that for just one of these things.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen companies charge $179, $279 just for credit restoration.
Mm-hmm.
Average tax strategist costs hundreds of dollars an hour. It's all packaged in this one membership for $149.97. Is everything you need and every expert you need across categories. It includes you and your boo. You and your spouse are included. It's no gotchas. Like, people are always looking at it, Sanchez, like, what's a gotcha? Well, the gotcha is they already got your money. They got you in debt, and they got you in over a barrel that if you stay on this default setting, you'll end up with 93% of America, which is dependent on family, friends, and the federal government. Yeah. But there's better. There's more. Because think about this. Keys to home ownership. I'm passionate about this program because I'm a homeowner. Well, thanks to this membership, I'm a multiple homeowner.
Yes,
And
you
I
are.
mean,
Yes.
owner without a mortgage. See, I use the debt elimination system with the tax benefits, and it helped me pay off my first rental property free and clear. That property flows clear cash every single month. It's actually helping fund the next two purchases and doing it faster because I was able to become my own bank using a membership. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else. I got a better team. Put that in your notes. You need a team.
You need a
You need a
team.
team.
Reason most people are stressed out in America today, they trying to do everything by themselves with what they know, but more importantly, with what they don't know. And that's where the cookie crumbles. But with that team of experts, we've been able to help people in that path of home ownership. And the reason I stress home ownership is everybody has to live somewhere, yes?
Yes.
But a
Yes.
home is the #1 way that generational wealth is passed because the estate is real. It's still there even when you're gone. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Unfortunately, too many of us, and I'm talking about us, too many of us have been conditioned to stay with the paradigm of, because I don't have the credit or don't have the money right now, never being able to buy a home. But put this in your notes, the net worth of the average homeowner is 40 times more than the net worth of the average renter. $5,000 versus $200,000, and a half of that is in the value of the estate. We got to get past the point where I don't know or I don't have to where we do have, and we walk you through the process step for step so that the biggest bill that most people are paying outside their taxes is actually buying something that'll last a generation after them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
And then this is my favorite, is we actually finally get a chance to become the bank, meaning between our diversified cash flow, where you can become your own bank, fund your own investments, and our private reserve account that allow us to secure our retirement income with no taxes and no risk of loss. And I want to put this in perspective because I felt like I was doing all the things they told me to do. Is anybody else out there like me where they told you, now, Ricky, when you get that good job, you get a checking account, a savings account, and put some money in your 401k?
Yep.
Y'all got my same auntie? And she was a good steward of money for her generation.
Yeah.
But what you got to understand, the relationship with us and banks have changed. Like back in the day when I got my first checking account, Kayvon, my savings account, I remember, Kayvon, I was getting a 3% interest rate on that savings account at Georgia Federal. But you know what happened?
What?
Georgia Federal got eaten by First Union, and then First got eaten by Wachovia, and then Wachovia got eaten by Wells Fargo. And every time a bank got eaten, they took a bigger bite out of what they'll pay. Till now, a bank is paying 0.01% interest on any money that you have in that bank under $25,000. You know what's interesting?
What?
I mean, just with the old strategy, if I put $10,000 in the bank so that it could grow, and I said, I'm not going to touch it for a year. At the end of that year, you know what the bank is going to have for me? $10,001. But now you got to understand what business a bank is in. Banks loan money for a profit, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Does your bank issue credit cards and mortgages and student loans?
Mhm.
So they
Absolutely.
take our money and they'll loan it out at 8% for somebody's student loan, or 12% for somebody's personal loan, or 30% for somebody's credit card. And then they come back to us with that look. I'm in a cursing mood today.
I know that's right.
They made hundreds of thousands on our 10. And that's why when you open a bank account, they give you a sucker. But just understand, it's not the problem with the bank, it's with the lack of knowledge that we could be our own bank. With the private reserve account, I started my private reserve account in 2019, December, last month of the year. I took the extra money that the membership got me and put it in my private reserve account. I didn't take any of the extra money from my job, just the extra money from the membership and put in that private reserve account. Do you know that right now, the value of that private reserve account is higher than the 401k that I started 2 years before that? And that's what a match. Because here's how a private reserve account works. It invests in the things that the banks invest in. You deposit your money into the account, it goes up when the market goes up. When the market goes down, you don't lose any money, no risk of loss. Does that make sense? When the market goes up again, your value goes up again. And over my 3 years, I had a 12% year, a 14% year, and a 17% year in that account with no losses. I want you to feel it. Like my worst year. That 12% year, $10,000 still made 1,200 to 1.
That's right.
That's how you sneak up on $1 million net worth without really paying attention to it. Are you with me?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Here's the next part that comes into the equation. Once you're in a position where you have surplus cash to invest and start understanding, let me say that, write this down. When we start learning how to spend money in order to make money, wealth is inevitable. When we start learning how to spend money in order to make money, wealth is inevitable. Challenge is most of us haven't been taught that you don't put your money in the bank, you put your money where the bank puts their money, like land banking. Angela Johnson and I both invested we're neighbors in our development in Green Energy Valley, Antelope Valley, California, where we were able to take, in my case, I took some underperforming retirement assets, invested in the land in Green Energy Valley, and that land almost doubled, 43% increase in value over the course of a year and a half. So if you had 50,000, if you invested 50,000, it became worth 92,000 in a year. Would that be interesting to you?
Yes.
But you got to have the money, and that's the process that we go through to make sure that as we're acquiring these assets, we live in the most litigious trying to get somebody society in the history of the world. And if you don't protect your assets, somebody's coming for you. Y'all know what I said. If you said it in your mind, you probably like me.
Assets.
Assets, protect your assets. But you got to understand, if you think about wealthy families right now, you probably don't know the name of the person that started the foundation. Like we hear about the Rockefeller Foundation. The only reason that we know about Bill Gates as the CEO of Microsoft is because that happened in our lifetime. But most of their wealth was created not at Microsoft, but in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Look it up. It's amazing, right? And what wealthy people have been able to do is put themselves in a position where they control everything on paper, but they own nothing.
Mm.
And that gives them that ability to go from that 30-40% tax bracket to 5. Could you imagine what your life would be like if you only had 0 or 5% tax? One of our business partners, I'll introduce him to you shortly. He's actually tax deferred. There's no tax that he's subject to based on how his trusts are structured, but you got to have the right information. That's him right there. That's Charles Ivory. Charles and Judith are actually located in Hinesville, Georgia. Anybody ever heard of Hinesville, Georgia?
Nope.
Yes. Yes.
So for those of you that haven't heard of it, Hinesville is a suburb of Savannah, Georgia. It means it's the country. And Charles was a career military retiree. He retired from the military and gone back to work as a military contractor. Anybody know anybody in that kind of situation?
Yes.
During the pandemic, Charles was furloughed. And I didn't know what furlough meant, Angela. So Charles explained it to me. He said, well, I don't have to go to work and they don't have to pay me.
Right.
But they
They
can't.
you still got a job. Yeah.
I still have a job, but I'm not getting any income. And I
No.
said, it's like a little bit fired. But during the time, this is a blessing. He heard about this message. He started going to work. And by the time they called him back from furlough, he took them back his laptop and his badge because he doubled the income from his job, sharing and promoting this membership. That makes sense? So that allowed them to pay off the house they were living in. They bought a commercial property where people rent space from them. But now, and when I was down there last time, I went to Savannah just to be nosy and look at their construction site. They're building their dream home. Because right now, you got to understand, with the membership, they able to knock out $1,400 in taxes initially, but now they don't get charged income tax.
Right.
They had $1,500 that the bill negotiators have knocked off. Both of them got 800 plus credit scores. They both have land banking, and as well promoters, they make no less than $400 a day. That's $12,000 a month. In addition to the other money from their other investments. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
This house is crazy. 6,000 square feet on one level. They didn't want to have any stairs. So I was like, so y'all built a strip mall by the lake? You got the 2,300 square foot attachment that has an apartment and a boat dock because the house is on the lake and a pool. It's just dope. But imagine what kind of house you would build if you could do whatever you wanted. Or Gerald Parker, you know, it's cool to meet a person that's outside of your sphere of influence, because he, at the time that he saw this, he was already 55 years old. But based on the way that his retirement planning was going, he's going to be working another 25 years to retire at the level that he was at. So you add those numbers up. Who wants to be working at 80?
Nobody.
Oh.
But with this membership and sharing it, not only was he able to get his credit score up, reduce his taxes, he makes no less than $10,000 plus. In the membership, he was able to pay off the house he lived in and bought another house in Florida, and he opened his church because he's a minister, by the way. Hey, so somebody said that good people can also make good money.
Yeah.
And then the gentleman that introduced this particular conversation to my brother and I, Brian and Bean, you know, I always will make sure to acknowledge that he didn't have to share this conversation with us. But during the time that we've been involved in this business, he has been the pace setter. Right now, he makes no less than $45,000 a month promoting what we do. Is the $45,000 a month a ball out? Well, no, not really. He invested it in 20 acres of land right off of Camp Creek Parkway in Atlanta, Georgia. As a matter of fact, his neighbor on the backside is Ludacris, right? Here's little old Brian that I'd known through life, and my brother introduced him. but he rents out that lakefront property for movies. You'll see it on CSI or the Georgia Lottery commercial. And he just showed us the new condominium he built in Dubai, that he bought in Dubai.
Mhm.
Because when you have cash and the right credit score, you get the you get to invest in things differently. Was able to secure $3 million in assets, secure and teach that legacy system to his son. Now, before I jump in to talk about how this whole promotion process works, what I want you to understand is even though income is not guaranteed, positive results are. This company has done so well over the last 4 years that they guarantee that if our experts can't create, increase, or multiply your cash flow in your first 30 days, MWR will give you that money back. So it's not about your $149. People have to pay so that they pay attention to the experts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So before I jump in and talk about how promotion and getting paid, creating the income, the daily pay that we were talking about, I want some of our members to share very quickly how this membership was able to bring cash flow into your house, because this is what we call seed money. I already shared with you briefly, but let me make it clear. The membership helped increase my pay by $1,200 a month. They helped me pay off $52,000 in credit cards, which increased my cash flow another $2,000 to $3,000 a month. That's $4,000 in cash flow just in debt elimination and tax reduction strategy. You add that to the $1,500 they saved me on the bills, and what happens in your life when your credit score goes over 800? Because I thought I had good credit, Angela, but I was like at 720 to 750 depending on bureau. But when they got me to 810 and 834, and I was able to refinance this mortgage and the one on the rental house and pay the other one off, like it's a different kind of cocky when you call in the mortgage company like, give me a payoff quote. Just saying. Okay, so I see Tanisha Sanchez and Angela. Oh, these are good stories. Hang on, let me spotlight you so that everybody can see you. There we go. All right, and anybody else that had this is a good testimony. So we'll run these, and then I'll talk about how the rest of money works. Oh, there's Steph Stu. All right.
Well,
I'm not gonna cut y'all off.
Who's going first? Everybody jump in. Let me know.
I don't mind going first. I'll go ahead and go first. So
Okay.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Richard Harder, for sharing this information. You are doing a phenomenal job, and I appreciate you and your brother for exposing me to this information. So right before MWR Financial, I was going to be in debt for 27 years. After I uploaded all my information, the experts told me that I'll be debt-free in 10 years, and I'm going to be saving $127,000 in interest, which includes my mortgage, my student loans. I was able to pay my car off early. So then, because I had a little bit of a debt to income ratio problem, now that I'm eliminating my debt, I was able to tackle my credit because it's included in the membership. So just to be transparent, because I had that debt to income ratio problem, prior to MWR, I had a 561 credit score. In less than 6 months, they were able to get me to a 734 credit score to me, which was amazing, and then I was able to save money on my electric bill. I was able to save money on my cell phone bill. But most importantly to me, I have freed up cash flow where I have now opened up my DCA account. So I have become my own bank, and I am investing in real estate in Detroit and Houston. So I'm excited.
Come on.
That's it.
Got homes in different area codes. Homes.
Okay. I love it.
Well,
Awesome.
I can go next.
Okay.
All righty. And I have to say this to my girl, Stephanie. Oh, the baby. She's so pretty. Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Harden, for having me on and just to be able to give my testimony. And I appreciate everything that you do. Your leadership is just is impeccable to me. Your knowledge and the master at what you do. So thank you so much. But what I want to say is, to the people on the line, listen, I was just a regular average person. So I just want you to know, like he showed all the different people. Well, I was just working every single day and paying my bills and having very little left over at the end of the month, pretty much. But making everything that I had built, it took everything that I was doing to take care of that. And I needed something more than that. And that's when I was exposed to this information. And let me just tell you, the investment of $149. I cannot be more happier with my return on my investment. Because that's how I have to look at it. You know, like you said, you got to be able to spend the money to know what you're going to get back. And that's how the wealth will come. So for me, when I did that, I was able to reduce the amount that I was paying in taxes in my paycheck every single month by $587. Okay, that was instant money that came back to me. It's called that instant pay raise from your job where you're working. Once I got that, you know, I didn't ball all out because I needed to see where I could go with this membership. And so in working with the experts, because Richard, you do know that they do all the work.
That's what I love.
Yeah, so
Gotta have a team.
Yeah, you gotta have a team. So they were able to show me how to systematically pay off all of my debt with the exception of my home, because I have 17 more years in debt according to my creditors. But now that's been reduced to 6 years because all I have to pay off is my mortgage. Everything else is paid in full. Now with that, MWR, those numbers and those stats, like you say, men lie, women lie, but the numbers don't lie. And when they say you get the average of about $2,000 back in your paycheck, yes, I mean, back in your household from going through the strategies, I got $2,200 coming back into my household. For
Okay.
some people, that's their paycheck for the entire month. That money is coming back into the household. I'm telling you, my credit score went up by 70 points. So from the 660s to the 700 and something. And Richard, you know, what I like about the membership is they educate you, because your credit score determines how much you pay for money. I was paying too much for money. So once my credit score went up, how about the interest rates went down? That brought more money back into the house. So that $300 or $400 credit card payment or whatever you paying can go down to $150. That's amazing.
Oh, and you get so excited about the money they save. You ain't even talking about how it feels to get in the comma club where you mess around and get a comma income from conversations you've been had. Like, oh, I forgot I said that to them, but they still pay me today.
So passive residual income, just because of the success that I was having, I was able to now share this with people, and this great company will pay you for being that promoter of something that has helped you. And the last thing that I will say, Richard, is that it also positioned me to become my own bank. So yeah, working at the bank over 20 plus years, putting my money in a 401k that was falling and rising with the stock market, and it would grow, then I would lose big chunks of money. So they showed me how to move that money into a vehicle that will give me so much more. So now I'm my own bank. That's the first thing. I have a private reserve account, and I have access to that money before retirement age. What's retirement age? 62 to 65 in there? Well, I'll let y'all know now. My birthday is this coming Saturday, and I'm not even close to that 65. But guess what? It did position me to retire. So I will tell you this. I retired young. I retired at the age of 57 years old because I was able to get my money, place it in a place where I have access to it, and invest in some other vehicles that we have. So vehicles, I keep saying vehicles, but I do have my land banking. And yes, in 2028, that shall pay off, because the Olympics is going to be right out there. Buying that land that's in the path of growth, I'm telling you, I mean, I'm excited. I'm thrilled, and I'm glad to be in the position that I'm in. And I want to tell everybody on the line that anybody can do it. Anybody. You ain't got to be rich, but you can surely get your money working for you. And that's what I'm happy about. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And last but not least, we got Miss Educating on Milwaukee, Wisconsin's realtor of choice for people that didn't have a choice. Tell them about what this membership has done for you, your practice, your money. What's important to you?
Man, I don't even know where to start. So I was kind of peopling, and life was lifing. but I was able to get my credit from in the 550s to the 700s. I was able to, as a business owner, I didn't actually have a regular job. I've been multiple businesses. I was able to actually be tax efficient, where that means like I actually have a Schedule C where it's actually written off correctly versus the IRS being like, I'm gonna audit you because you don't know what you're doing, clearly. So just having these experts are really able to actually structure my business right. So that I am able to actually take those deductions. That $10,000 in my household now was able to pay off some debts. Now was able to give me lower insurances. Now was able to really actually let me stay at home with my kid for a little bit. But it was just really don't mind her, she's abusive. But no, it really just was it was the ability to have that freedom. Even with my clients, as far as real estate, I've been able to get them into houses. People who were like not qualified at all, I was able to get them into homes, and then not only get them into homes, but I was able to help them pay off their mortgage. Somebody was able to pay off their mortgage in literally 3 years. Like, let's get it. Like, it's nothing like having those teams of experts available, even with the trust funds and stuff like that. It's not like protecting your assets. When you come into money, you have to be able to protect that money, because the IRS will always come and get it, or there'll always be some tax for whatever, or some fee for whatever. So it's always great to be able to have those experts that can protect those assets for you, so you're not working hard just to give it back to the government.
Oh, so good, so good. Man, we up against time. So what I'll do, y'all give it up one more time. Give it up for the First Ladies of Finance, Angela Johnson. We got
All right.
Chairs.
All right, yes, ladies, congratulations.
Congratulations,
For both being
champions.
willing to share, but most importantly, for being willing to promote the value. Because not only, I know they all talked about how the experts saved their money and got their money, but I know their business, they've also been paid to share what happened in their lives by promoting the membership. Now, before I jump into getting more money, let me ask you, does anybody have any questions about the membership, about all the things that are in there? Because it's a lot. I'll say we won't even have enough time on this call, at least according to my plans, to cover what's in the membership. But more likely than not, any question that you are about to ask somebody else about money, we've got an expert assigned to help you handle that situation. Does that make sense? So let me pause. Any questions about the membership? Because I do want to talk about promotion, and I do want to promote some things that are coming up so that we have an opportunity to maximize a moment. Because somebody's going to look back and say, man, I heard about the Wealth Syndicate the first day when Richard was talking about it. And they're going to see me flying off in my Learjet. It's one of those. Any questions about the membership? Questions going once. Questions going twice. And by the way, the only stupid question is the one that you don't ask, and you go ask somebody that wasn't here, that hasn't experienced it, and they answer you from the only source of wealth they have. That's a wealth of ignorance. And I'm not saying an ignorant person is the same as a stupid person. An ignorant person just doesn't know what they don't know. A stupid person is somebody who knows better, but still does the same thing.
I got a question. I got a quick question.
Shoot.
I have a quick question, Richard. So just so we're clear, when you get the membership, then you have access to the experts. So you don't have to know everything, but this is a team of people that are of integrity that we can trust, right? To help us through each part.
Absolutely. And great point. I mean, and that's the best thing. Like, my definition of an expert is someone that has done a thing, and only that thing, for at least 10,000 hours. Like our tax experts, for example, are enrolled agents with the IRS. You feel me? It's the highest level of certification. So they were teaching me things that the people at HRM Block didn't even know. When it comes to that debt to wealth system, where people actually get a chance to understand how debt breaks down and how to reverse amortization and make it work in their favor, oh, it's a game changer. And this is what they do. Like, I'm smart. Anybody else smart? I'm smart. Like, I know stuff. I'm good at math, but everything ain't my anointing. Anybody else in that position? You can't do all of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I feel like I do a good job when I cut the grass, but it's 4 hours.
Oh,
Pedro and Sam roll up, they done in 30 minutes. It looks much better than anything I've ever done, because it's all, you understand? So if we got experts that's going to take care of the lawn, and experts that's going to take care of our hair, and experts is going to take care of our cars, why wouldn't we have experts to take care of the money that bought the car, the hair, I mean, the car, the house, and the car, all that stuff? Get experts. Don't.
Yeah, I have a question.
What up, Kayvon?
What's good? How you doing? Hey man,
Fantastic.
your everything that you putting out, man, it's amazing. It's very amazing. So I'm glad that you know, to listen to it and stuff. So far as the membership, okay, once you sign up for the membership, I guess what I'm asking, like, what's the next step? Is there anything else that we have to do on our end, or the expert personnel takes care of the rest, or how do they how's that work normally?
Okay,
I guess
great
that's what I'm
question.
asking.
So our job when it comes to the experts is uploading the information they need for each of the strategies. So for example, with the tax strategy, what they needed from me was my pay stubs and my last year's tax returns. I uploaded them. They took care of the rest and told me who to tell what. Same thing with our debt elimination. I had, now I'll admit this up front, I had to lay out what all my debts were, put who it was, how much I was paying, and what the interest rate was. And there's a saying, they say the truth will set you free. Malcolm X said this. Truth will set you free.
Woo, hallelujah.
But first it'll piss you off.
Facts.
That was the first time I saw lined up all of the enemies that were standing against me. But it was also the first time that somebody showed me a way that I didn't have to play their game. They showed me how what the between student loans and the mortgages and credit cards was going to take 24 years. They showed me how to pay it off. And they give me a statement every 30 days. Rick, are we on plan? Rick, are we on plan? To say, to take that from 28 to 6 and save me $230,000 in interest. And then how to turn that into $1 million over the next 8, another million, by the way. Another. So, like I say, you have a job, but most of it is upload. So if anybody has ever uploaded a document to Facebook or Instagram or any other website, you upload the documents, they give you the results, and then you move on to the next step. And there are certain steps. We go through those in training in order, because I tell anybody that's looking to, because a lot of people come in and say, well, I'm already good on taxes and credit and debt. I know what I got. I tell anyone, squeeze the rest of the money.
Everybody need a team.
Huh?
Like you said, everybody need a team.
Everybody, I mean, it's sometimes it's just somebody looking at it with different eyes. That makes sense. So I say go through all of it so that you know if there's any other cash that they can get you, because that's your starting point for investment for most people. Does that make sense? Yes. And that way, people that think there's somebody out there right now that thinks they don't have enough money to start their own bank because they don't have enough money in the bank. But the truth is, somewhere between your bills and your taxes and your debts, some of your money could be what's funding your bank so that you never have to ask them for money again.
Yep.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Other questions? This is important. So I want to make room for questions. I don't want to rush anybody, but I do want to make sure that we talk about that next part. And this is what I tell people. For any of the categories we talked about before, whether you are employed, self-employed, a business owner, even if you're an athlete or an entertainer, all of those things require an exchange of time for money. That makes sense?
Yep.
Yes.
It's one of those things. A running back is only going to be a running back for so long, and his image and likeness will only be marketed by Nintendo for so long, unless he's Bo Jackson. So the money eventually runs out, and what you have to do to make wealth real is actually create a stream of cash flow that's independent of your time or talent. A stream of income that's independent of your time or talent. Now, I don't know where all of you are on the spectrum because I don't even see all of you on the screen. There are some people on this line that are looking to make just some extra money, a couple of hundred, a couple of $1,000 a month. There are some people that are looking to make a replacement income. They would love to have their time back and replace what the job is doing for them. And there are some people that want an extraordinary income where their bank account looks like a phone number. Wherever you are, It's in our compensation plan. It's really dependent on how well you promote the membership and how good you are at cultivating a referral network, because that's what we do. We tell people, and I say, run, tell that. You know how fast people are to tell you about gossip and Keke Palmer's pants and her. Never mind. I'm sorry. I ain't even know what that was about. But suddenly everybody was telling me. I was like, man, I wish y'all went and told about how people could get wealthy as fast as you talk about other people that got money.
Right.
But imagine this. For an additional $100, one time, there's a one-time activation fee. You can activate the wealth promoter business portion of our membership. So $249 one time, $149 a month, whether you choose the business or the customer, doesn't make a difference. But once you have this business code, they pay. See, this is the thing. They pay us to create wealth from anywhere with our business. Now, I happen to be in my office. You know, I'm in my office because my Hulk and my check and my championship belt. They give us championship belts, by the way.
Oh, yeah, we get championship belts, yeah.
Right. That's how you know I'm at home. But this laptop could go anywhere. I could be anywhere in the world with the internet and still generate income using the promotion industry. And the blessing that we have right now in this day and time is you could do it any of the ways it's out there. We got an e-commerce mechanism where people could find out about business through a set of websites, do direct marketing, just talking to people that you know, getting them to see something that makes sense, or even social media. You can have strangers, and this has happened, follow you on YouTube and text you to say that they want to sign up in business. All of those things have happened for me. And the blessing is we're just sharing information and promoting it. And we get paid 7 different ways for one thing. Does that make sense? 7 different ways for one thing. What's the one thing we get paid to do? Say we get paid to promote. Everybody say promote.
Promote.
What are we promoting? Wealth, not just wealth.
Wealth
But the
promotion.
possibility of wealth in our lifetime that'll last a generation. Now, what did my computer just do? I'm not sharing my screen right now. This is just me looking at y'all, right?
Correct.
So if somebody decides that they want to become a customer, they have upfront and long-term bonuses. If you need some money to get out of some situation, these bonuses can set you free. But if you need long-term, what we call resilient residual income, this is the first company. I've been in home business for 25 years. This is the first company where I've had guaranteed pay. Puts us in a position where you help enough people get what they want, you'll get everything in life where you want. Now, won't go into detail on how the positions work, but our first tier is just an extra money tier. Extra money, anywhere from $150 a month to $4,500 a month. Right now, I'm just on the border of 5-star executive director, $150 a day. I mean, $150 a day, $4,500 a month part-time. I didn't have to quit my job to do this. But how many of you know that if every day $100 to $150 landed in your bank account, it would create some financial relief?
Yes.
On the way to financial freedom, most people need some financial freedom. It's hard to talk about getting wealthy when people still calling you about their stuff. But once you can write a check for it, things start to get better. Now, how does someone become an executive director? Is as simple as introducing and sharing with people. My goal for anybody to get started is to see if we can hit that executive director star level 1 your first week in business. Meaning, say for the sake of this conversation, Kayvon, you introduce the concept to me, Angela, and William. Is it safe to say we get started in business with you? Yeah, we already in. And you already came up. So if the 3 of us get started and one other person decides they don't want to make any money, but they want the team to help them with their money, now you're executive director, star level 1. Everybody give it up for Kayvon, star level 1.
Star 1, exact.
So now you
star 1, let's go.
You're making guaranteed residual income of $5 a day. Okay, I've known Kayvon long enough to know that Kayvon is not impressed with my $5 a day. But understand, you just got started. Your first week in business and your business is already profitable. $5 a day times 30 days, that's $150. You got a business that pays for itself. Because the bonuses are set up, you made an extra $340 up front so that the money you put out is already back in your account before it's time to pay the next month's bill. That makes sense? But now here's what happens. The three of us, we did not get started in business to be the three people that helped you get $5 a day. We want our own business to be profitable. Yes.
Right.
So
Yes.
I talked to 3 people, Angela talked to 20 people, and William talked to 25. And somewhere along the way, that puts you to executive director star level 2. And we do have people that are in these positions on the call. Angela already talked about being that 3-star executive director, but hitting that position where it's $50 a day, that's an extra $1,500 in addition to the other things the membership did. And our goal every 30 days with our new momentum, our wealth syndicate, is to blow past what we used to do by promoting it faster so that people get paid. Imagine that you're getting paid $100 a day. That's $3,000 a month to get to regional director. Now, regional director is where people start to have options, anywhere from $6,000 a month to $30,000 a month, somewhere between $6,000 a month and $30,000 a month. Could someone see the way to where what you do now is what you used to do?
Yes.
Yes.
Like I've been blessed in my career. I've worked at multiple Fortune 100 companies, had great titles, but they can have all that back. Right between here and here. And then, but now there are some people that, in addition to getting free, want to experience next level wealth. We're talking about that exceptional income. This company right now pays anywhere from $45,000 a month to $450,000 a month. That's $5.4 million for building a team of people that are promoting building a team, but promoting having a team to help with financial expertise to make wealth real. So in short recap, what the reason I call this the MWR resilient compensation is that by restoring our credit, we're able to invest, save and invest more. And then by eliminating our debt and getting paid daily, we're able to stay ahead of inflation. With the private reserve account, we're able to become our own bank. Diversified cash flow creates multiple streams of passive income. With land banking, trust our assets, we're able to reduce taxes. That's everybody's #1 bill. And at the same time, multiply the money. All that's in this. But here's what happens. None of it would mean a thing if you didn't have the training and support. And here's the failure in most businesses right here on this screen. If y'all ever heard of that game called Whisper Down the Lane, where you line up somebody on one side and you whisper in their ear, flowers. And then they're supposed to pass it down the line. And by the time it gets to the person at the other end of the line, it comes out shoes.
Yes.
Well, that's what happens to most people in most businesses. They hear about it from someone who just heard about it. And the law of human memory says that most people only retain about 50% of what they hear in a casual exchange. Does that make sense? Let me back up one slide. So they take that 100% down to 50%. And then they whisper to the next person, they only got 25% of the information, who pass it to the next person, only got 12%. And by the time you get to the last person, they get to us, we only got 6% of the information needed to create wealth. In Reaganomics, they used to call it the trickle-down theory. But in real life, it's not the 6% new information that they got, it's the 94% garbage that's been perforating our brains for decades. But through our Zoom trainings, our regional trainings, our national events, even our leadership retreats. How many of you were at Game Changer in our getaway in Peachtree City last week? Hey man, sometimes you got to get away from all these people out here talking about people and sit at the table with people talking about money. Make sense?
Yep.
The training and support, we got a world-class training and support system, and we're making it even better. And so with that, I'm done. I didn't realize I was going this long. I've been having way too much fun with you. It's 2 ways to take advantage of our resilient compensation and the information we just shared. But you can become a wealth promoter, which is what we did, where you have access to all 7 streams of the way to get paid and the membership, or you can just become a member. The $149 investment for either position. And I love them both the same. I just know there's more that I can do to accelerate wealth for the people that are willing to accelerate wealth for others. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
But no matter what you decide, just remember that when you leave this Zoom, it's still 2 types of income in the world. 95% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck on a linear income. What's linear income mean? Meaning they work for an hour, they get paid for an hour. They don't work for an hour.
They didn't get paid.
Don't get paid for
I'm
that.
inviting you to join that 5%
Right.
focused on financial independence,
Leverage.
where they have leverage of income and where they do the work one time and get paid for it over and 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 over again. And that's how we make wealth real. So get back with the person that invited you tonight. Let them know if you're number one or number two. Number one, you're ready to do this the way that we do. You've been promoting enough stuff for enough people longer time. You promoted parties, might as well promote a party that is profitable and creates cash flow, not just for now, but for generations to come. Or you want to be a member, $149.97 per month investment on both sides. Let them know where you are. They'll shoot you a text with the link to get enrolled and put you in position for our training with our top income earner later this evening, meaning Brian M. Bean. I talked about him and the lake and the house in the condo in Dubai. He's doing this presentation again in 30 minutes, just better, faster. And then at 9:30, he'll be training step for step, word for word, how to get started and take maximum advantage of what we're doing. And this is the invitation I offer to anybody. If somebody's making $1,000 a day and offering to teach you their system for generating $1,000 a day, that's $30,000 a month for free. Would you listen?
Heck yeah.
Yes.
And say you don't get his results,
No-brainer.
right? Say you don't get to where you're making $30,000 a month. Say you only get it half right, half wrong. Would $15,000 a month be okay?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I'll take it.
I'll
Okay,
take it.
let's break it all the way down. You get it 10% right, 90% wrong. With $3,000 a month part-time on your investment of $149 be worth it.
Yes.
Yes.
Worth it.
This is what we got to do.
I'll take it, sir.
So get in position. Make sure to get together with the person that invited you this evening. Let them know you're number one or number two, but also join me at 8:30 or 9:30 for the training. 8:30, there will be a presentation similar to this and with more people. 9:30, training. Training is the key, because anything that you don't know that another man has done, you can do if you go learn it. But we got to get in that place.
Yeah.
Get off our assets and change our mindsets so our families can be set.
Be sick.
Yes.
Let's make it real, family. Good night.
Good night.
Excellent presentation, Mr.
Thank
Hart.
you so
Awesome.
much.
For the presentation.
Awesome.
Thank you.
The presentation.